Hey, this is JV. This is me, and I'm JV, the anti-autistic, and I have Bobby here with me today. And what we are going to discuss today is something people have been asking me for a long time, which is my faked death.
Yes.
And yes, it really was a faked death. I started on this. Hope you guys aren't disappointed. They won't be, will they?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, for years, I had been hoping, I'm not taking my phone with me, whatever. Ignoring my phone when it rang, ignoring my phone with it, because I was hoping I could pretend for a few minutes that it was my daughter saying, "Mommy, I love you. Well, let me see those tapes. Let me see that proof." And that's what I lived for, and that's what I hoped for every second of every day. Didn't, of course, wasn't welcome at the holidays. I would sometimes say to Bobby, when I go, to see if I'm still in remission. Part of me is ashamed when I'm still in remission because I'm disappointing my daughter and my family. They want me dead so bad. And I kept waiting for that phone call from Jennifer, and it never came. And I would say to Bobby, you know what? I really want to just fake my death. And then I won't be having to hear they don't care because I'm not really dead. I'd really like to do that. And I really even thought about it. And I even talked to some people online, some of my autistic friends, Cassiana and a few new friends, and tentatively made plans to do it. Then I decided that was kind of ridiculous. And then I went over to LJ says what Grandma did, because he's heard so much of what my mom did. He was there. He was listening. I didn't tell him so much of what my mom did when she was trying to get me to kill myself and such. And he said, I really love Grandma, but I think Grandma's going to go to hell if there's a hell. I don't know if there's a hell, but if there's one, she's really, really going to go there. And she's having really bad medical problems. And so he talked to my grandma, and even though I wasn't allowed over there for Christmas, he was going over there for Christmas. And we were expected to drive all the way from Pueblo to Denver, 200 miles. 100 miles.
It's 100 miles each way, yeah. Which comes up to 200 miles.
For Christmas, yes.
But not invited to go in.
Not invited to go in. I was told, well, you can't be there with Jennifer there. And so I waited out in the car. And then Jennifer left. I was watching her. She's putting all the presents in the car, and she's got this dog that was all bouncy, and it was really cute. And I was like, well, maybe the dog is all bouncy and happy, so maybe Jennifer's all bouncy and happy self. And so and I was crying a little bit happy and hope that maybe that, I always look for signs, and crying, just praying, Jennifer, please just come over and say, hey, hi, Mom, anything. But she didn't. She left, and so I decided that LG was in there, I decided I would go in there just because I knew it would be the last time I'd be in the house, and I would just go upstairs. Even though my father had been dead several years, I was going to go up in his room and say goodbye again, and so I went in, and I was trying not to cry. I surely wasn't angry, and my mom, what did my mom say?
Oh, jeez, I don't remember, but it was,
why do you have that hateful look on your face?
Yes, that was exactly what it was.
And I said, I just want to go up to Dad's room and say, hey, Merry Christmas. So I went up there for a while, but I was so hurt that she'd just been so nasty. That didn't even just for Christmas.
First words right out of her mouth. It was so mean.
And so I came downstairs and I sat down, and my mom says, your brother had a stroke. And I said, yes, I know. So I said, and remember, when they found out I had cancer, they deliberately hurt me. My brother, that's a whole other story, but he deliberately hurt me. He reminded me of monstrous things he'd done to me 1 week exactly after my mastectomy. And she said, don't you care? And I said, well, if he has, and he was there, by the way, if he's had a stroke, hopefully it's disabled him in such a way that he won't be able to sexually abuse Zoe. And yeah, they came kind of unglued. And and I said, this is the time to confront my brother about, you know, the sexual abuse and how it was horrible what he did to Karen, but that I had thought maybe finally people would believe the horrible things he'd done to me too, instead of calling. And I never even told him he did this to me, because I knew he would call me a liar, liar, liar. That's what I said, liar, you know. And so he started saying, oh, anyway, he started talking about it, and he said he was, by the way, 21 and 5 months and 2 weeks old when this happened on May 6, 1972, a Saturday, and she was 13 years old. She'd never been kissed, nothing. And innocent, sweet. And my brother said, well, she was 15 years old. I said, no, she was not. You know she was not 15 years old. And he goes, well, in your reality, she was only 13. I said, well, the reality of a birth certificate, she was 13 years old, Kevin. You damn well know it. And he said, well, she wanted it even worse than I did. And I said, God, I wish you were dead. And LJ almost came over and booed when Kevin said that. You know, I wish you would, when Kevin said she wanted it worse than he had. So evil what he did. That girl had been screaming at her. But anyway, so yeah, home, and I knew, like, it's all over. But I was still waiting for these phone calls from my daughter. Still waiting for these phone calls from my daughter. I'm no longer talking about faking my death, even though I had talked to Bobby a lot about faking my death. We were selling the house in Bennett, and we were fixing it up, and there was the first showing of the house in Bennett. And there was a review, and it was really awful. I was like, oh my God. And during this time, right after that, Bobby, who, I mean, I don't see how it could be a psychic evil control thing, but Bobby believes it is. Bobby, without my knowing, made a phone call. You can go there.
Well, I called our brother-in-law, his name was Chris, and told him that...
Nice guy, we feel bad.
Yeah, Chris was a really nice guy. He's the only one in the family that was ever nice to us.
Well, Carl was nice.
Carl was nice, but Kim divorced him, and he was lucky to get away, and Carl's still our friend.
Yeah.
But I told Chris that Vicky had passed away about 2 months earlier, and when we was on vacationing out of the country, and just...
Well, not 2 months, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks, excuse me. And I didn't care about the family, but I wanted Vicky to stop waiting for the phone calls.
And he knew that they wouldn't be sad.
No, they'd probably be happy, actually.
I knew they'd be happy. He knew they'd be happy.
And none of them called up crying or upset.
But he knew that when he told me that I would stop spending every minute by the phone, just waiting for my daughter to say, Mom, can I see that proof? And so he told me, we got a couple phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, and we got an offer, then we got another offer. And so then, for hire, then what we'd ask for the house.
Yes.
And like all these offers were just pouring in. And so then Bobby told me, he said, well, you know, right after that bad one, he said, I called and I told them that you were dead. And he said, I know you don't believe there is anything supernatural, but gee, the minute I did that, it was like the release of this power that they had was gone. And I respect Bobby for his beliefs. And they are awful coincidental. But he said we instantly got all these phone calls asking for, you know, people, everybody wanting this house.
Yes.
And
It sold in one day. It's like
sold in about 3 hours.
yeah.
There were like 15 offers in by noon. Offers, written contracts, you know, and so he said, I think it's because, you know, we got those bad things because Kim can't hurt us anymore now. And I was like, oh God, Bobby, you know I was talking about you should do this, but and then I realized I wasn't going to be afraid to go to my doctor anymore. I wasn't going to be afraid of my doctor saying, you're doing well. Because I would disappoint my family.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't afraid of that anymore. And then I was no longer going to be spending all my time praying for a miracle with my daughter. That wasn't going to happen. And that I could go on with my life. Cinna last 2 days it lasted.
Mm-hmm. About that, yeah.
Okay, it's your turn.
Then the family, they kept asking for proof and this and that. And so finally the police showed up and said we need to do a welfare check because our son LJ, they were concerned that I had done something to Vicky and that I'd done something to LJ. Because
even though they knew at that time, we let them know.
Vicky and LJ were both there, and the police were very happy, and they left. And then the family called up so concerned, and her sister's like, her sister Kim, the evil one, is like, how could you do that? How could you be so cruel and this and that?
Making us think that you're
to be dead.
when
How
you're
that's
alive.
the meanest thing ever.
Yeah, she thought it was mean that their hopes were let down, that they got to be excited that we were dead and that I was dead and I really wasn't.
And then later, a second phone call, she called up and just smirking. It's like, you won't have to ever see your daughter again. Ha! And she was just
and
letting out the whole person that she is.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to bring up a little bit is actually like a month before that. I was so depressed, and I suddenly got this idea to call my friend Shelly, who's a mutual friend of my daughter and myself. And so I called Shelly, and I said, oh my gosh, Shelly, I've got all this proof. I want to show you, and then maybe you can show Jennifer. Maybe I'll have a relationship with my daughter again, and she'll see what these people have done. And Shelly said okay, and she was very amenable to it. But later when I was talking to her, she talked about a conversation, her and Jen getting together. And she said, Jennifer said, because I said, does Jennifer say why she hates me? Is it all just stuff they've said to her? And she said, well, Jennifer said that when she was a little girl, you used to always tell her to go outside and that she was a bad, bad girl, and that you used to do that all the time and tell her she's a bad girl, and that social services she had to wait outside for social services to pick her up. And I said, oh my God, this is not true. And so I got really depressed again and said, I guess that's not going to work. Her hearing the truth, because she's got these things in her head now from when they weren't even around, my beautiful, perfect baby girl. And so that's when I got super, super, super depressed again. And it was just a couple weeks after that. Anyway. Am I glad that he did it? Yes. I would rather they never found out. I mean, seriously, there would have been no tears from them. Trust me. They could have had their little part and have it all be okay. But, when we got robbed, few weeks ago, or a while ago now, when we got robbed a while ago, or laying on that floor, I thought a million things. God, when you think you're going to die, so many things. And mostly it was about, you know, the people I love and this and that. And I had a few little heroic fantasies about how if I jump up, and I can never really jump out the window and all this stuff. And then I realized, no, that's really dumb. That this would be our best chance. We'd just lay there quietly. It would be our best chance for survival. But I thought we probably were going to die. And I remember thinking, of all the things I was thinking, wow, my family is going to be so happy that I died such a horrible death. And I thought, what monsters they are. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't. If I hadn't, I would have called up, because I'm so, I'm not stupid, I'm not. But I'm like a born-again emotional virgin. Something horrible happens to me, and I like, people do something horrible to me, and I'm like, oh, I'll never trust that person again. And then I do, again, and again, and again, and again, and again. It's like I'm always becoming this born-again emotional virgin. And so I know, I would have called and said, oh my gosh, this happened, and they would have, like, said, so, good, too bad you didn't die. And so I avoided that. That didn't happen, because Bobby did that, and my sister made it very, very clear that they were angry that I had gotten their hopes up that I had died.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's my faked death.
And her life's been so lot actually better since then, I think. Except for the robbery. But.
Well, the robbery, and there's some stuff that's gone on, but yeah, actually, I used to spend more than half my waking hours crying about my daughter.
Absolutely, yes.
And I still cry because I love her so much, and I do still believe she's been deceived, or Bobby thinks possessed. And if I believed in that stuff, I would really believe that. And so it's hard, because I still would like to rescue her, but I mostly have accepted, and with the EMDR, and hopefully we'll be able to really be okay again and be happy again. My husband did this all for me because he didn't want to see me cry, and I love him. I guess we're done.
That's it.